I was reading a philosophy book, many, many years ago, and they were talking about being and the being of this and the being of that. And if you're not a lover of philosophy, you probably pick up a philosophy book and get, sleepy fairly quickly. But one of the things I love about philosophy and the concept of being is the idea that the being of something that is changeable, so your essence, your being, is not only what it is today, but what it still can be. You've got this potential. When we look at kids, we see all this potential. But I don't know, at some point when people get a little bit older, we stop seeing potential. We stop seeing potential in ourselves. We stop seeing potential in other people. We stop looking for potential in ourselves. And God never does. God sees potential in you, potential you've never seen, potential you've never considered. God sees amazing possibilities in you. He sees things you don't see. When you go to the grocery store and you're walking down the aisle, you're looking for toothpaste. You're going down the toothpaste aisle. How many different brands of toothpaste do you think there are in the average grocery store? Considering that Colgate is just one. All the 50 million different Colgates are just one. Crest is just one. The 1,600 different Crests are just one. How many different brands of toothpaste do you think they are? I've done the exercise with a whole bunch of groups over the years and get a group of people together. They usually come up with 8 or 9, 10 or 12. But the reality is there's well over 30 different brands of toothpaste in the average supermarket aisle. We don't see them. We walk down the aisle. We pick up our box. We don't see the words on the box. White, bright, clean, fresh. We don't see these words. We pick up our box, usually our color. We take our color box off the shelf and we put it in our cart. And off we go. We don't see the others. We're so used to taking that path and getting that box off the shelf and putting it in our cart, we don't see the rest. We're blind to all those other possibilities. Hundreds of different toothpaste, we don't see them. Same thing happens in our lives. Most of the time, we don't see most of the possibilities before us. Someone comes to you and says, I've got a big decision to make. What's the decision? I've got to decide between doing this and doing that. The reality is there's probably hundreds of other options they haven't considered. When you and I make a decision, we tend to hone in on a couple of options really quickly, but there are hundreds of possibilities that we don't see. Why does God invite us into a relationship? Why does God challenge us to spend sacred time each day in prayer and reflection? So that we can realize our potential, so that He can open our eyes to our potential, so that He can open our eyes to our amazing possibilities, so that we can go out into the world, become the best version of ourselves, live the incredible life that God created us to live.